Okay, folks, I'm in St. Kitts. I wanted to go over some things with you, some questions that come up a lot on different types of residencies. And one of the big questions I have that come up a lot when I'm talking to people that are getting a second passport, second citizenship, or just getting a residency, is they'll say, Tom, why did you pick St. Kitts over countries like Malaysia, Philippines, Ecuador, Panama, places like this? And today I'm gonna give you some tidbits on why I picked this country. And I did a lot of searching. I actually did a lot of traveling before I made a decision on this. So these are some things that you can think about before you make an international move, because I'll tell you something, folks, when you make an international move, that's a big decision. Once you do it, you don't want to look back and say, damn, I made a mistake on this, to where you end up moving back or moving to a different place and it just costs you thousands of dollars. These are things that you need to think about. And also, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport, it's as quick as 45 days. Do three things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen, and also that notification bell next to the subscribe button. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And number three is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit that top bar that says apply with us, fill out the questions, hit that bottom bar that says send it to us, we'll get back with you. We deal with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. All right, let's look at some of these countries and kind of tell you why I ended up picking St. Kitts over the other ones. I visited all these countries and I spent extensive time in them. And I did a lot of studying on taxes. Can you get a second passport in that country? What are the taxes like, not just outside, but inside the country? Is it English speaking? There's so many different things that you got to look at when you're looking at making. And some of these countries, you're going to find out some have advantages over the others on certain things. And then, but you got to look at the whole picture and say, is this going to be what I can deal with long term, and what I'm looking to do and what I like. And you got to I would take a sheet of paper and put pluses and minuses of each country, and then go back and look at each one of them and see which one do you like the best based on these different advantages and disadvantages. And this is the best thing to do. You really need to take some time out and really write it down. Okay, now these are some things I looked at. Okay, first of all, I put taxes ahead of everything on my list. Some people don't. That's my number one objective. Okay, and then I start going down from there. I look at healthcare. I look at things like, can you get a second passport there quickly, slowly, or whatever you want, and do you have to relinquish your other citizenships? Okay, now I put that the very top two under taxes. Okay, so I'm looking at, and the other thing I look at too, what's the percentage of people there that speak English? Okay, now some countries, you'll go there and the people will tell you, you read these newsletters and they'll say, there's a lot of people that speak English there. What's the definition of lot, L-O-T? Because I read a newsletter that said there was a lot of people that spoke English in Panama. Got down there, started doing a lot of research, found out lot was 2% of the people in Panama speak fluent English. Everything else is scattered. Okay, now you can learn the language, but I'm saying these are things that you're going to have to think about if you're running a business. You want to take the time out to study that different language and learn it. Okay, and even if you're retired, you still want to take that time out to learn the other language. These are things you're going to have to think about. Okay, now let's look at Malaysia. All right, Malaysia, there are quite a few people that speak English there. Okay, it's a long ways away if you're from the U.S. or Canada. So you're going to have to decide, if you've got loved ones back in the U.S., it's a long ways to track, if you're going back and forth. Okay, so these are extra expenses that you might have to incur for those people, if they're kids or whatever. These are some things you're going to have to think about. Okay, all right, another thing people don't think about, if you have nice heirlooms like antiques and stuff, there's just no way you're going to get rid of them. It has nothing to do with cost or anything. It's the memory of your parents, your grandparents, or whatever. You don't want to get rid of those. Okay, well, what are you going to do? Keep them where you live right now? Are you going to really sell those? Okay, this is something you're going to have to think about. Are you going to sell those, or are you going to pay just an enormous price to get them shipped all the way to Asia, which would make it totally impractical to do. These are things that you're going to have to think about when it gets down to the bottom line, because these are things that you don't think about now that you will think about then, okay? Now, Malaysia also has a territorial tax system, great, for any sort of income made outside the country. St. Kitts doesn't have any taxes for inside or outside for income taxes, okay? Now, you're going to have taxes inside the country for Malaysia. The problem with Malaysia is trying to even work there, okay? They got the My Second Home program. That technically does not let you work, okay? That you're basically supposed to be retired living there, okay? Now, so these are some things that you're going to have to think about on making a decision. You know, do you want to, reside in that place and basically not work or have a business somewhere else? You could do that, reside there in Malaysia and have a business somewhere else. But I'm going to tell you, it's almost impossible to get the passport. If you can ever get it, you're going to have to relinquish your other citizenship. These are some things that I don't like, okay? So that's what makes me cross it off the list. And you might say, well, Tom, I don't plan on getting the passport. I just want to live there. That's different. But the thing I always tell people, why not utilize your time? Pick a country that you can get a second passport after you get maybe a first one real quick through the citizenship by investment, maybe through a Caribbean option. But have a second passport plan in your mind where you're not going to have to relinquish the other passport, okay? That's not going to work in Malaysia. Also, it won't work in the Philippines. Philippines will make you give up your other citizenship too, okay, if you naturalize. The other problem you've got too, look at Panama. Panama's the same way. Panama is going to make you relinquish your other citizenship, and it's also a Spanish-speaking country. And unlike Malaysia, you've got a lot more people that speak English in Malaysia than you do in Panama. I can tell you that by a long shot, especially in Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur probably has more English-speaking people than any city in Malaysia. Johor Bahru is okay next to Singapore, but like I say, you're better off if you're looking for the most English-speaking people and you don't want to stick to an island country. Malaysia would be good. I would pick the Philippines though over Malaysia, because to me the women are prettier there. It's just a different culture, it's more of a culture that I could deal with. The Philippines has a territorial tax system too, and it's got more of the ingredients that I would want, and it's a lot cheaper now with the new My Second Home program in force now. They've upped the ante quite a bit. Philippines has not, to my knowledge, I've checked the retirement visa program was put on hold, and it will probably come back. I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to what Malaysia is, though. It might even be the same program that it had before. But my advice is, if you're going to stick between I would pick Philippines over Malaysia is what I would do, okay? That's just myself. They're both about the same cost of living. It's pretty much about the same. There's not that much difference. Manila is actually pretty high compared to the other places of the Philippines. I wouldn't want to live in Manila. The traffic's awful. The pollution's really bad. I would pick any place but Manila anyway if you're going to go to the Philippines. If you're looking at places like Panama, like I say, you're going to have an issue with the language, and also the taxes in Panama are not real low. I mean, it's when I say low, I'm talking about 5 or 10%. Last time I checked, I think it was 20 or 25% was their top bracket. So these are some things that you're going to have to think about. But there is no income taxes on income made outside the country. So if you do have that type of business where you can do it outside the country, that's something you might want to take into consideration if you do want to go there. They do have a nice hospital there, Puerto Pacifica. It's a Johns Hopkins hospital. It does state-of-the-art work. They can do just about anything there. So that's one advantage of Panama. Malaysia has very, very good health care too. Not quite as good as Singapore, but it's pretty close. And it's very inexpensive there too. But like I say, it's on the other end of the earth. If you're from places like the U.S., Canada, places like that. Now, Ecuador is another place you can look at. Ecuador does have some advantages that the other ones don't have, and so does Guatemala, and that they both allow dual citizenship, okay? And also you can live very cheaply in those two places, about as cheap as Malaysia and in the Philippines. They're all four of those are very, very inexpensive, but you're going to have a language issue. That's one thing that you're going to have. And all of these places I've mentioned, except for St. Kitts, have an income tax locally, okay? St. Kitts does not. So this is something you need to think about there. Anyway, folks, if you got a question or comment, you can put it below. If you got a real pressing issue you want to get solved, you want to get your taxes to zero, how to get a second passport quick, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and hit that top bar. It says apply with us, fill out the questions, hit that bottom bar that says send it to us, we'll get back with you. Also, if you got a question or comment, put it below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the right of your screen. You'll get new videos as they come out automatically. And I look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.